So I think if you want to attract top talent today, you've got to begin by understanding talent. You know, everybody seems to think that it is a generational issue, like there is something wrong with this younger generation. Who in here is over the age of 50? Hands up. Yeah, I heard a couple shoulders creak when you try to get those hands up over your head, right? Well, if you were over the age of 50, you probably grew up something like me. My father was the breadwinner in our family. He came home every night at exactly 6 o'clock. He would fix himself a scotch and soda, and before he sat down to bite into his meat and potato, he started complaining about the younger generation. He started complaining about my generation. We had no work ethic, no commitment, no loyalty. What would become of this world if it was left to my generation? You know, the truth is, we have been complaining about the younger generation since the age of Socrates. So I'm not going to tell you that there aren't some challenges with this younger generation, but your ability to attract top talent, your ability to build a strong team around you, it is not really a generational issue. You need to understand what's going on in the minds of employees today. Now, those of you over 50, and I'm not going to make you raise your hands again, once a day, hands over your head is probably enough, correct? But if you are over the age of 50, this is the world that we grew up in. We graduated from school and got a job, and we believed that job would be there, correct? And then if we worked hard, we could probably get promoted at that job. And if we just didn't screw up too badly, we could probably retire there, maybe even get a pension. No employee, no matter their age, believes that anymore. When they're stepping through the doors, this is what's going on in the back of their mind. Downsizing, outsourcing, merger, acquisition, artificial intelligence. We have to understand that as leaders today, we have taken guarantee off the table for our employees. And with guarantee off the table, we have to put something else back in its place. The biggest question on employees' minds today is, why should I engage? If you cannot guarantee me a future, why should I step to the plate and help you grow that credit union? The strategies that I'm going to cover this morning are exactly the steps that answer those questions. They're the steps that the companies that are really doing a phenomenal job of not only attracting top talent, but really engaging it. These are the steps that they are following. So let's go ahead and jump in. When we think about today's employees and what they want, what they're really attracted to, what they're passionate about, what makes them want to go to work for a company, the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing that they put at the top of their list is they want to do work that matters. They want to feel like they are making a difference. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. In other words, what they want is purpose. Now, purpose may sound soft and it may sound too touchy-feely, but let me tell you that purpose is one of the most powerful things that you can have to motivate somebody. It turns on this intrinsic motivation, and it is more powerful than any benefits program or any incentive plan that you can possibly put together. College basketball fans in here, I got any? Raise your hands. All right. I'm from the great state of North Carolina. Go Tar Heels. A couple of years ago, there was a matchup in college basketball that nobody wanted to watch. It was a matchup between Mississippi State and the University of Connecticut. And nobody wanted to watch this game for far more reasons than it was women's basketball. Nobody wanted to watch this matchup because the last two times these teams had met, the University of Connecticut, also known as UConn, had beaten Mississippi State by an humiliating 60 points. It's one of the worst losses ever in college basketball. Add to that the University of Connecticut was entering this game having won 111 straight games in a row, a record almost unheard of in college basketball. Now, nobody wanted to watch this matchup between these two because nobody thought that Mississippi State stood a chance of winning. Nobody, that is, except Mississippi State. Now, I don't know what you all do in the states where you're from when college basketball is on, but in the great state of North Carolina, we watch college basketball. If you are at work, you are not working. You are watching college basketball. If you go to the grocery store, you are not shopping. You are watching college basketball. And Lord knows if you are at church, you are not praying. You are watching college basketball. So I remember exactly where I was the night that this game was on. I was at a dinner party. And being good North Carolinians, we had the television on in the background, waiting for the Carolina game to come on. And we could hear the cheers coming from the television that made it sound that this game was better than anybody thought it would be. And as the cheers got louder, as the roars got stronger, we all grabbed our plates, we got in front of the television, and we're sitting like this just watching the game. And sure enough, right at the end, Mississippi State pulled out the win. Nobody could believe it except Mississippi State. And after all the cheers and the roars and everything was over, a lone reporter caught a player coming across the court. And she tracked her down and said, "Congratulations, how excited are you that you won?" And the player said, "I'm out of my mind." And the reporter said, "But you've got to be shocked. You've got to be just can't believe you won." And the player said, "Absolutely not." She said, "I knew when I got up this morning we were going to win. I knew when I was getting dressed in the locker room we were going to win. I knew that when we stepped onto this court, we were going to win." The reporter said, "How?" She said, "Because when we lost to UConn last year, we vowed as a team we would never, ever lose to UConn ever again. We were so committed, our coach started every game reminding us that we had to get our reputation back." She said, "If you came down to our locker room, you would see the number 60 plastered all over the walls." She said, "We didn't step on to that court to play basketball. We stepped onto that court to win a championship." That is purpose. And it is the foundational piece to attract employees today. When I first started studying employee engagement, one of the most interesting things that I found was that no matter where in the world you were, the most engaged and the least engaged employees were exactly the same. The least engaged, government workers. Not surprising, right? But they have a guaranteed job for life and some of the best vacation schedules along with a pension. The most engaged workers everywhere in the world, nonprofits. Some of the worst paid and some of the least guaranteed of a future. That is the power of purpose, and it's the foundational piece as a leader that you need to be talking about, helping people understand what they're a part of and what they're trying to do and create in your community. And once people understand your purpose, they're ready to connect and be a part. My husband is a dentist, and he has been in practice for a long time. And about 2 years ago, he came home from the office after having one of those days. Have you ever had one of those days? And he came through the door and he said, "I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I feel like I am the only person who cares about this practice. If I don't show up, we'd never hit goal. I'm the only one trying to find new patients." He said, "I'm done. I just think I'm going to consult or something." Now, I think he has had a bad day. He needs a glass of wine, a good night's sleep. He gets up the next morning. He bounces down the stairs, grabs a cup of coffee, and he says, "I've made a decision." He said, I think I am still going to quit dentistry, but before I do, I am going to hire a business coach. Now, I am a business coach. I am a very good business coach. But my husband is a smart enough man to realize he should not hire his wife to be his business coach. So Rob went out and he found a woman by the name of Sheila. And Sheila's from Alabama. She had this way of talking, and honey just dripped off her tongue. And every time she spoke, my honey got so stuck in her honey, he would do anything that Sheila told him to do, which is a good thing because Sheila told him his problem was not dentistry. It was his leadership style. See, my husband is what's known as a hero leader. He makes all the decisions. He solves all of the problems. He takes all of the responsibility, and he gets all of the blame. She wanted him to switch his style to what's known as a transformational leader. And as a transformational leader, he would still get to control what happens in his dental practice. He would get to decide what goals they're going to hit, what patients they're going to see. But the question of how now belongs to his team. Because when you ask people how, you simultaneously give them voice and responsibility. They take ownership. Look, you heard in my introduction that I am a strategic planner by training. And I would take a weak strategic plan implemented by the people who created it over a masterpiece driven top down. The people that work with you want to help you learn to grow, but you have got to learn to lead through the power of the question. You get to decide what, they get to decide how.